Hey guys, Alex here, and today I will show you how to checkmate with King and Rook versus King. So in this case, we have very similar to the King and Queen, but there is one option in particular that we no longer have, which is this outer checkmate. So in the case of King and Rook versus King, we want to push the King to the corner, or to the rank, or to the file. And the first way in which we can checkmate, once we have done this, and we will show how to do this in a second, but once we have done this, is we now control the squares, the forward moving squares of the king with our own king, and then we checkmate by placing the rook anywhere along the rank or possibly along the file. So here, for example, we have a checkmate along the h file. The other option, which is very similar, is we bring the king to a corner. And now in this case, we deliver a checkmate along the a file like this with the black king in the corner. Or if our king was on b6, then we would deliver a checkmate along the last rank, the 8th rank. So these are the ways in which we can checkmate with the king and the rook. And now what we want to show is how we can deliver that checkmate when we start, imagine, a position like so. With the side with the rook to move, checkmate can be forced even from an open position like this, where the king is in the center of the board, in at most 16 moves from any starting position. This is good to know, by the way, because in chess we have the so-called 50-move rule. Meaning that if the other side only has, in this case, the king, and you cannot deliver checkmate in 50 moves, with no pawns on the board, you only have a rook, in this case, you would actually draw according to the 50-move rule. But because we checkmate in no more than 16 moves maximum, then this is not a big concern. Let's see how to do this. Well, the important thing to do is to try and box in the black king. You want to drive it to a corner, or to a file, or to a rank. So here we would start with a move like king d3 check. We bring our king as close as possible. Now, let's imagine the black king tries to fend off the white king with king d5. Now, we close off more squares with rook to e4. Now, this means that black is forced to push himself back, either to c5, d6, or c6. If the black king goes, let's say, to d6, now we could go king d4, but even faster is king c4. We anticipate that if the black king tries to stay along the 6th rank with a move like king c6, then at this point, our king is on c4, and it's better than if our king was on d4, because we can deliver this check, and there is no king b5 move. The king is opposing the enemy king. So rook e6 check, and after king to d7, we go again. We repeat the same maneuver, king d5, supporting the rook and waiting for black to have to push back in some way or another. Black plays king c7 in this instance, and now white opposes the enemy king. Black now plays king to d7. And here is where I see beginners make a mistake quite often, where they don't checkmate as quickly as they can, and they get a little bit confused. They maybe go back to support the rook, and in this case the king returns, or sometimes they will give a check, and in this case the king goes to e7 and starts to run in this direction. So this is perhaps the trickiest part to keep in mind. You should actually just drop the rook back anywhere along the e file. We can drop it back even just to e5. And the idea of this is that you now invite black to go back to c7, where your king opposes the black king. And now you can give this check, and once again, all the forward squares are controlled, and so the black king is forced to move back. If, on the other hand, the black king doesn't go to c7, it has to step back onto the last rank, and you are nearly there in terms of your objective. So king c7 is the best defense, rook e7 check, king d8, and once again we support the rook, king d6. Now black plays king c8, we oppose the king, king c6. Now if king d8, we repeat the same waiting maneuver. We just drop the rook back, one square is enough, but anywhere along the e-file is good. Now we force black to move, and once king is moving to c8, our king opposes the black king, and now rook e8 would be checkmate. So, because of this, in this position here, the black king can try to run, king to b8, and now we take a waiting move. Again, a common mistake is to play king b6, king here, and king b8, and suddenly you are sort of wasting time. Instead, you just wait, this time along the rank, because if the king steps into c8, we will now be opposing, we cover all the squares, and we deliver checkmate along the last rank. So black king runs to the corner. Now we follow it with king b6. Now there is no more move other than king b8. He is forced to oppose our king. And now rook h8, we deliver checkmate along the rank. So I hope that that was a clear example of how to checkmate with king and rook, even from the very starting position and open position. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next video where we will show how to checkmate with king and two bishops.